From the city of brotherly love, this is Shark Bite Biz with David Strausser.
And you just arrived to the season 7 finale of Shark Bite Biz. I'm your rockstar wannabe host, David Strausser, and this is your place to learn how to grow a business during complete global chaos. As always, today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsor and SAP Global Platinum partner, Seidor. That's Seidor. If your business is ready to move off of QuickBooks, if you're still using a green screen or something old and antiquated like Maz 90, it's time to modernize. Let's automate your business process. Let's start breaking through those bottlenecks, preventing growth with a newer system. From mom and pop to large enterprise, SAP and Seidor has a system for you. So reach out to me or go to Seidor.com. Now back to today's episode. Being a sports star, it is a business. You know, it's also a personal brand and so much more. What happens, though, when the arena lights start to kind of dimmer on you and retirement sneaks up on you maybe quicker than expected? Well, today we're going to talk with a person that helps the players actually adjust from on the court to off the court. So for our season 7 finale, we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Mario West. Mario West is a graduate of Georgia Tech with a BS in business management. Originally, he was a walk-on at Georgia Tech who earned a scholarship and played in the national championship in 2004. He won the NCAA Slam Dunk Championship in 2007. In the NBA, though, he was undrafted in 2007 before making the Atlanta Hawks roster. He then played 3.5 years in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks and the Nets. After that, he played overseas for 6 years before retiring in 2016, and now is a director of off the court for the NBPA, helping players transition from the court to normal life. He's also authored a book called Defend the Dream and runs his nonprofit, the Mario West Foundation, Inc. So hey, without further delay, let's get our season 7 finale started and let's get Mario right on in here.
Business strategy.
Mario, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. You, my friend, you just became Shark Bait.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, and happy Monday to you.
Yeah, happy Monday to you too. And I'm honored to have somebody with your expertise, your talent on this show. It's pretty amazing, pretty exciting for me. But for all those people out there that may not recognize the name Mario West, please, we have a tradition on this show. Very first question: what's your background? What's your experience? Basically, in a nutshell, what makes Mario Mario?
Well, to keep it simple, man, Mario West, I am a former NBA player, proud Atlanta Hawks and New Jersey Nets alum. I was undrafted. I'm also a alum of Georgia Tech. Go Jackets. Got my degree in business management. Throughout my career, college career, I played with some tremendous players: Chris Bosh, Jarek Jack, Will Bynum, BJ Elder, Ishmael Muhammad, Thaddeus Young, who's still playing in the NBA, Javaris Crittenton. In the NBA, again, undrafted, I played with Al Horford, AC Law. Al Horford is still playing with the Boston Celtics, chasing that ring. Joe Johnson, Jamal Crawford, Flip Murray, Josh Childress, Marvin Williams, just to name so many guys. Even, you know, when I played at Georgia Tech, I played in the ACC. And so now I'm retired in 2016. I'm now working for the NBPA, which is the National Basketball Players Association, which is basically the union. I work for the players. And so I've been in this role for about 3 years. So proud to serve the players in this capacity. And basically what Off the Court is, and definitely who I'm aligned to be, is that Off the Court is a transition program. So as guys get ready to think about those next steps of what they will look like for, you know, when they're done playing basketball, you know, I help guide those guys and help them build a blueprint.
Okay, that's great. That's a lot to unpack there. First, I've got to ask, you know, you played in the NBA, but you were undrafted. Did you have a chip on your shoulder like, hey, I wasn't drafted, I need to prove myself? How did that affect you mentally going into your professional career?
I would say absolutely. I had a chip on my shoulder. I had a lot to prove. I definitely, wanted to, make my dream become a reality. And so whatever edge, that you have to use that and channel that. So mentally, it was like, hey, if I'm going to make it to the NBA, this is going to be earned. Nothing is given. And so it really that blue collar workers mentality, like I'm not above anything. If they told me to sweep the floor before, guys got out on the court or even during practice, I was going to do it. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that my presence was felt and that, that I had enough to hang with those guys.
So you played for the Hawks and you played for the Nets. Who do you like better?
Honestly, people would say, okay, hey, I'm a local kid because I grew up. I mean, Georgia Tech is 5 minutes away, from where the Hawks play at. So that was like in my backyard. Had some great years at Georgia Tech and had some wonderful, memories with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm deeply indebted and grateful for both organizations because they took a chance on a young man, that no one had ever heard of. So for both of them to give me the opportunity to live out my dream, I'm forever, grateful. I will say that I go to a lot more Hawks games, obviously, because I still live here in Atlanta. Most of them both well. They're both in the East. They both made the playoffs, and so I'm always tuned in and locked in when they're playing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you also played overseas 6 years. Now, just kind of give us a trajectory of your career. Was that before you were in the NBA or was that post NBA?
So post NBA. So my last year in the NBA was 2011, and if anyone that's watching, if they recall, there was a lockout, and so that's the CBA and players and all had to go through that whole thing. That was my first time experiencing that, and so the season didn't start back up until December. It was almost 2012. And so what happened was I said, you know what, a lot of guys that were, seasoned veterans, I should say, that had been in the league and, financially in a position just to kind of wait, what I'm saying, wait it out. That's what they did. But other guys like myself who only been in the league at the time, a few years, and it's like, hey, I still need to make money. I still want to play. I'm still in shape. I don't want to, wait, 6 months or whoever to when the league starts back up. I decided to go overseas, and it was really a blessing in disguise because prior to the lockout, I never even dreamed of going overseas. Some of these places that you read about, growing up in school in social studies and geography, and you see these different places on the map, but some really, really cool places. And so I enjoyed my first place that I actually played in was Dominican Republic for like a month. And that was kind of, a prep for me going over to Italy, of which I lived over in Italy for about 8 months. I was over there from August to about May.
Do you think then that CBA, that lockout period there, it definitely sounds like it sent your career in professional basketball down a different path? If that didn't happen, do you think that you would have stayed with the NBA longer before you went to the overseas leagues?
Absolutely. I do. I do. I feel like I showed a lot, in the brief time that I was with the New Jersey Nets. And so the thing is, man, it's so hard to get in the league.
And it's not like football where you have so many players. I mean, with basketball, how many players are on a team? It's quite a low number, right?
Yeah, typically maybe about 13, maybe 14. But now, I mean, the whole NBA is different because you can have two-way guys on two-way contracts and going down to the G League, which is phenomenal as guys get a lot of reps and get them, which is basically the minor basketball league version. But I would definitely say that I feel like my career would have extended had it not been a lockout. But again, it was a blessing in disguise because it got me the opportunity to connect with so many different people and have some different experience that I will forever, hold dear to my heart that I experienced.
Professional basketball in Italy, that's pretty gnarly. I think a lot of people would have loved to been in that position. I lived down in Tijuana for about 15 years, and they have a basketball team down there. It's called the Zonkies, because I don't know if you know much about Tijuana Mexican culture, but in Tijuana, they have basically they're donkeys, okay, but they paint them like zebras. So they kind of play off that, and in English we call them zonkies. So they named their basketball team the Zonkies. And their clothes are black and white, but it's essentially a team for the Mexican Professional Basketball League. That's kind of like what you were saying that you did out in the Dominican Republic or out in Italy, and that was always kind of cool to see. And it had a lot of American and foreign players, just like you playing for that team. Right now, your main job is with the director of off the court for the NBPA. How how do you prepare people to leave the NBA? And are they younger players? Are they older players? Mid-level players? I mean, what type of player are you typically working with?
So two parts to that. I'll answer the last part. So typically it's the older guys, as you hope that guys are able to have, everyone would love a 10-year, plus career. And so generally the target is guys that are older, guys that have been in the league maybe 7 to 10 years plus. But it's unfortunate that no one knows the exact date when they're going to retire. No one says, okay, I'm going to do X amount of years. I'm going to retire on, May 20th, 2000, whatever. You know what I mean? So you try to build those relationships, even with the young guys, just so that you can build that rapport. So when they do officially or unofficially, announce their retirement, that relationship is already built in place. And so they feel comfortable coming to you. And the other part, the beginning part, I try to use myself. I use myself and my experiences that I've gone through, things that I've learned to help, paint a picture, because it's unknown, it's unfamiliar territory in terms of the transition. Like everyone is going to be a retired player at some point, but no one knows when that is actually going to happen. And so again, I try to use the things that I've been through. We also use former players, connecting with them who've transitioned successfully. And then other guys that's a part of the transition, because there's a pre-transition, like while you're still planning and you're thinking about, oh man, my body's breaking down. You know what? I'm getting tired. I want to spend more time with the family. And then that's also the part where, you have stepped away from the game and you haven't announced your retirement, but no team is showing interest. So it's kind of, you're going through those different stages. And so again, I try to utilize myself and just being a voice and being a former player.
How hard is that? So you always, I mean, every sport has a player where it's like, yeah, they're an unrestricted free agent. They can sign with any team, but no team is really reaching out, or maybe they'll give them a practice or whatever, but they're not seriously contracting them yet. How hard mentally is that for a player to go through? That's got to be like roller coaster of emotions, no? Especially if you want to play.
Well, I mean, the transition is different, for different players. Everyone is going to affect, differently. Some players, maybe they got all that they could out the game. You know what I mean? Because it's two things.
Like LeBron.
He's done phenomenal. And being away, the only thing that he's mentioned that he wants to do that's on his bucket list is to play with his son, Bronny, which I'm confident that will happen. And I look forward to seeing that happen, because LeBron is an incredible player. His son, Bronny, both of his boys, incredible players. And I definitely, can't wait to see Bronny on the stage with his dad as well. But, for a lot of guys, it is challenging. You got to think about, you've been playing the game, 5, 6, 7 years old. I mean, some guys been playing it 20 plus, almost 30 years. And then to step away from that. So for some, it's almost like a divorce, so to speak. Anyone that's ever been married, you know what I mean, and you divorce, there's some people that's going to celebrate the divorce. They're going to be like, oh man, this person or whatever, this relationship was so toxic. Now I'm going to celebrate that. And then for others, you know what I'm saying, it's the uncomfortable, like, oh, I invested all that time. You know what I mean?
Now what am I going to do?
Yeah. So, but you can't get through it. It's steps, you know what I'm saying? Just like anything else, you know what I'm saying? That's a part of it. It's no different than growing pains when you're growing, and you know what I mean? Your body is, you're going through puberty, you know what I'm saying? Everything is a transition. It's the butterfly, you know what I mean? Caterpillar to a butterfly. So
how did you fall into the role of the director of off the court? How did that happen? Did a door just open for you, or is it right place, right time? Did you have to work your way up? I mean, explain a little bit how you found yourself in that role, because that is pretty intriguing.
Yeah, so a little bit of the first two things that you mentioned. So previously, I wanted to go into coaching. Well, I thought that's what I wanted to do when I retired. And so I went back to my alma mater, Georgia Tech, and I spent 3 years there on coaching staff as a director of player personnel, basically working with the student athletes, making sure that they went to class, making sure that the alumni stayed engaged, with the program. And after 3 years, I said, you know what, I want to take a leap of faith, and I really wanted to tap into some of the incredible resources that the NBPA offers, and also wanted to look in, to see what the NBA offered as well. And so I was just staying connected, with opportunities, like reaching out literally like every other week. Hey, is there a job opening for anything? I can send my resume. And basically what happened was the previous director, had decided that he wanted to do something different. And so basically he stepped down. And so this position became available. And because I had stayed connected, with the NBPA and what job openings they had, I basically went through the whole interview process. And I'm not sure how many candidates they interviewed, but I was one of them, and everything else, is history from then.
It just fell into place for you. I mean, very much going just like non-sports people. I mean, a lot of what you're saying translates to the business professional world. I mean, it's like you're at a job one day and it just becomes toxic, and it's like, hey, I gotta quit, gotta get out of there. I went through that recently after a long time with one company, but some people unexpectedly, get terminated, just, almost in a way like if someone would get injured and then, it's a career setting, a career ending, or a major career setback for them to kind of rehabilitate and get better. I mean, a lot of that mindset, that philosophy feels like it's the same whether you're in sports or you're in business. So with that then too, I mean, you also authored a book called Defend the Dream. Okay. Why did you write the book, and why is it called Defend the Dream?
Great question. So I was playing over in Argentina, and this was like almost my last year, playing very, very well at the time. I'm 30, 31 at the time, and my body feels great. When I say great, it feels like, hey, I'm a 25-year-old, the way that I'm moving around and everything like that. And so basically what happened was I ended up tearing my Achilles, that season. And I think oftentimes what happens, especially as an athlete, and also I'm a believer too, God has been so good to me throughout my life and blessed me with so many, great gifts and talents, and also connected me with so many amazing people that sometimes when things happen in our life, you tend to question, like, why me? At that time, it was easy for me to kind of sulk and kind of feel sorry for myself that I tore my Achilles. But at that moment, I said, okay, what do you want me to do now? And at that moment, this overwhelming voice, spoke to me and said, it's time. And I think in life, we oftentimes, because I have been wanting to write a book, I've always wanted to share my story. I've always wanted to inspire others by using my story, even if I only inspired one. And so I put it off because it's like, okay, when this lines up, I'll do it. Or, when this happens. And sometimes it's about, you can't wait to the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. If you have something that's really, really on your heart and you feel convicted and compelled to do it, then you should go after it. And the reason that it's called Defend the Dream, because that's in essence what you have to do in a dream. You have to protect it. And it's ironic that my main job in the NBA was a defensive player, and those same attributes of being a great defensive player, of guarding the best players, protecting the paint, having aggressiveness, having tenacity, being persistent, having discipline, all those things, come into play when it comes to trying to reach your dream. And so I'm proud of it. The book is to inspire not only the youth, but anyone that has a dream. So it's not a basketball book just about basketball, but it's about life and how to overcome the different challenges that one will face, naysayers, doubters, fear, rejection, all those things that you endure on your journey to reach your dream.
Yeah. And again, I'll reiterate this fact from earlier. I mean, a lot of that same mindset goes into things like business, whether you're a business owner, you're in sales, that negativity creeps in, and, it can be hard to get that negativity out. But if you're successful in getting that negativity out and having that positive mindset, you're going to get so much further in life than having a negative mindset. So much has to do with your mind and how you take things. Do you brush it off, or do you, soak it in and dwell on it and mope about it? You agree with that?
Right. Absolutely.
Perfect. So also we wanted to chat about, you do have the Mario West Foundation. Okay. What is the Mario West Foundation Inc. and what is the mission of what you're doing?
Yeah, another great question. So I've always wanted, in addition to the book, I'm a person that I just love to serve. I love to serve my community. Again, I've been blessed. I'm a firm believer of to whom much is given, much is required. And so I started the Mario West Foundation, my nonprofit. Originally, I wanted to just provide whatever assistance, financial assistance, because I remember during my senior year, it was my dream to go to Georgia Tech. And, a lot of people find this shocking, but I received so many accolades, in Douglas County, which is my hometown. But all those accolades that I received because of basketball, I still didn't have a scholarship offer to my, dream school. And so I remember, having a conversation with my dad, and it was like, hey, I want to go to Georgia Tech. And I knew that we didn't have the money. And I remember, my parents taking out a lot of, loans and stuff like that, going in debt just so that I could go to school. And I remember feeling, like I let my dad down, who's, one of my biggest supporters and made so many sacrifices for me and my sisters. So it was like, you know what, if I ever get in an opportunity or a chance to give back, to help others, not feel any friction or feel any kind of letdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want other, students at my high school to feel like, oh, I got to dribble a basketball, or I got to catch a football, or I got to, run track, do anything sport related. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to turn them away if they don't receive a scholarship. Like, it's fine if they play those sports, but I don't want them to feel deterred because it's like, oh, well, I'm not receiving a scholarship, so I'm not going to go to the school that I want to. And so I started the Mario West Foundation, again, to provide benevolent assistance. In addition to the scholarships, I give out this is my fourth year in a row giving out scholarships to my high school. They read my book. Inside the book, there's some questions that they answer in the workbook, and I select the winners once they submit their application. But I also feed the home.
About how many winners a year do you pick?
4.
That's amazing work.
Yeah. In addition to that, feeding the homeless as well, which is, in Atlanta, it's a big homeless population as well. So I try to do 4 huge events throughout the year. So I do a back to school event, basic necessities, school supplies, book bags, and stuff like that. And then during Thanksgiving, hot meals. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people do canned goods and stuff like that, but the homeless, they don't have a home, so giving them canned goods defeats the purpose. So I do hot meals. I partner with Publix, and we get hot meals, and I get out on the streets and pass those out. And then during Christmas, I do basic hygiene. I do stockings. In the stockings, I put socks, hats, gloves, and basic necessities, for Thanksgiving. For Christmas, rather, in those stockings. And then throughout the year, I'll do weekends, hashtag lunch bags. I'll pack up, sandwiches and lunch bags with chips and water, and, just try to, just show love. Everyone needs love. You never know where.
That's amazing. I mean, that truly is amazing. And I think you're a perfect definition of someone that's fully giving back to the community. That's something that I personally believe in as well, too. It's like, hey, if we're taken from the community, I do ERP sales with technology. That's what my bread and butter is every single day. And if I'm taken from that community, I want to also give back to that community as far as meals, or as far as, helping out with things like what you were saying. I think that's a big part of business, but maybe not even business, just who I am as a person. Because, again, going back to when I lived in Mexico, I did not have it easy. I moved down there when I was 18, and I was literally living in a Tijuana ghetto where it was dirt roads, outhouse, no hot water, take a hot shower. I had to boil water and then mix it with cold water to make it warm, and, take with cups of water standing up. I have no idea why I lived like that, but I did live like that. And it was, it really gave me a different aspect in life, especially after doing it for so many years, that it gave me more respect for people that don't have. And that's where I also try to give back as much as I can. And it sounds like you're definitely on that same wavelength.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with you, You've done a lot. I mean, from basketball to the director of off the court with the NBPA, to your nonprofit, your book, all that stuff that you've done. I mean, do you think that you've written the last chapter of your book, or is there still more Mario West of good stuff that you're going to be doing in the future?
Yeah, so definitely there's a second part that I've been patiently trying to, because I had a co-author. One thing I want to highlight, the co-author Shekinah Bowden did a phenomenal job in helping me put this book together and put these words so that they can inspire others. And so yeah, there is a second part. Don't know when that will be out, but I'm hoping, maybe within the next, I'm gonna say within the next 2 years that I'll have that, and looking forward to that. And I think that's the cool thing about, life and experience, that I have so much even more now to put into the second book, since the last time I retired.
Definitely sounds like that. I mean, this has been amazing. So I've got to ask you, I mean, obviously with the NBPA, players know how to get a hold of you, but as far as your book, as far as your Mario West Foundation, where can people find your book, and how can they donate to your foundation? How does that work? Give us all of those details so that people can support you with the mission that you're doing.
Yeah. Again, well, thank you for having me, and for anyone that this, if you want to check out the book, go to mariowest.com. Again, that is mariowest.com. On there, you'll, see where you can order the book, and also some basic information about, what the book entails and everything like that. And for my nonprofit, it is a 501(c)(3), so it's a tax deductible for anyone that's looking for tax donations to support a great cause. And to go to that, happy to receive donations and have your support. Go to Mario West Foundation Inc.com. Again, that is Mario West Foundation Inc.com. And you can also, I have a gallery, so you can see a lot of the community outreach and the different things that I've done, in the community. And it has a link on there too as well for you to donate.
Perfect. And we'll definitely have both of those links down below in the description. Doesn't matter if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, or you're listening on iTunes. Just check down below. You'll see both links for the MarioWest.com and the Mario West Foundation Inc.com. It was, right? Okay, yep. Perfect. We'll have both of those links down below. Mario, thank you so much for coming on and being our season 6 finale. My friend, you rock. Keep on doing what you're doing, because it's amazing, my friend.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Cheers. Wow, that was such an incredible chat with Mario, wasn't it? First, you all know the routine. If you found this interview helpful, if it sparked those warm and fuzzies, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. But if you really want to help us out, because you know Shark Bite Biz is the greatest kept secret in the world of small business, please do me a favor, share us out to your friends, your family, your colleagues, anywhere that you dwell in the interwebs. I don't care if it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you go, please just share us out. I'd love to see nothing more than a great individual like Mario West and Shark Bite Biz out there trending. Now let's get back to the real rock star of this episode, Mario West. Such an awesome story. Mario had to hustle. The NBA lockout actually changed his whole NBA career trajectory. I mean, he already beat the odds by being an undrafted player to get an actual contract and get signed to not one, but 2 teams and stay employed. But, as they say, when one door closes, another one opens. And he ended up, because of the lockout, playing another 6 years overseas. The cool thing is that he's not bitter about how things went down, but he's actually grateful that he found a way to play and get paid well, even if it was overseas and not becoming the big NBA all-star that most boys and girls dream about these days. But he went, a different path for success and found it. And I've got a lot of respect for that, because on this show, we talk about taking that unbeaten path a lot of times. And here's a perfect example of that unbeaten path to success. And it was really great what he did and how he was able to extend his career by another 6 years by doing this. Aside from that, he has a great foundation out there helping people. He's got his book. But what's really cool, and another reason I found this pretty awesome, is how he works with the NBPA to help players transition from stadium life to normal life. This man, I'm talking about Mario, is so humble with all that he does to give back to the community, to other players, and more. And he props to you, Mario. I mean, you are really humble and amazing, and this is awesome stuff. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story for our season 7 finale. Question of the day: what do you think about the move Mario made to continue playing ball? Good move or bad move for his career? Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. Do you want to be in the show? We're booking for season 8 and season 9. Interviews at sharkbitebiz.com. Remember, if you're watching on Spotify, if you're watching on YouTube, you can join the channel. As little as $3 a month, you can become a baby shark. Every dollar in is every dollar I put out in making the show bigger and better. Lastly, shout out to our sponsor, Seidor. That's Seidor. If you're on QuickBooks, it's time to move off. Let's automate those business processes. Reach out to me. Reach out to them, Seidor.com. Let's get your business moving in the right direction. Finally, for the last time for season 7, remember, we'll be back the first Monday after July 4th will be season 8 debut. Okay, but don't worry, I got a lot of little promo clips we're going to be dropping in between now and then. But for the last time, I'm going to sign off. I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz, and we'll see you with season 8.
You just experienced Shark Bite Biz with David Strausser. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the show to help us spread the word about personal, professional, and business growth. Want to be on the show? Send an email to interviews@sharkbitebiz.com. A special shout out to our sponsor, SAP Platinum Partner, Seidor. Get off QuickBooks and move your business to the next level. Reach out for more info. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.